Okay, so how are we gonna style everything that we did? Well, so far in the previous app, what did we do? Well, we just made a new folder here called CSS. We could have used CSS, we could have used Sass like we did by just importing the CSS file in our app.js, and we were good to go. Now again, there's multiple different ways to manage styles in React, but a very popular way to do it is called styled components. And if you remember, we installed it in package.json here, and I'm gonna give you a quick look. So let me just search styled components on Google. You can follow along if you want, and here it is. So what the styled components allows us to do is to write JavaScript styles, literally. But the benefit is that it's gonna look exactly like CSS properties here where we write them. So we don't need to say border radius with a big R. We can just say it like in CSS. So we just create a button here and set it equal to styled a or styled div or whatever we want to create. And then we just add our necessary properties and then we just render it out. I'm going to show you how to do this in just a bit now. But it's a great way to style your components, and that's what we're going to be doing right now. And the other benefit is that everything is going to be in one file. So stop talking and show me how it works. Okay, let's go here to the About section. Let me close this up. We don't need this. So this About section, let's say we want to style this up. Okay, let me close this. Let me get everything up and ready here. So the first step is to go to the component that you want to style and import. Let me just say styled here. Import styled from styled components like that. Okay, this is the package that we're going to be using. And again, we don't have to go and create our CSS file. We don't have to go to another file. Everything is done in one file. That's super nice. So you create the component, you add the HTML, you add your logic, and you can add your styling with styled components. Okay, so let's say I want to style up this part here. So this div right here, okay? We can add a class to this of about or something, okay? So how do I style this? And what we do is we head all the way to the bottom of the page, right here, right before our export. I'm gonna say styled component here, or component. I'm going to create a variable called about, or whatever you want. In this case, I usually like to look at the class name. So if this div is called about, I'm going to create an about variable here. We're going to set this equal to styled, so the thing that we imported up here, and then we're going to add a dot down here, dot, and now we choose what kind of HTML tag we want to style. So in this case, this is a div. So I want to say styled.div, like that. If you want to style a h2, you can say styled.h2. If it's an image, style.image. So whatever HTML tag you want. Let's just say div. And then I'm going to add two backticks here, like that. Again, it's not quotes, it's not single quotes, it's backticks. It's the one next to your one on your keyboard. Go next to your one to the left, and that's the backtick. And here we can just write our normal CSS. Now it's not going to look pretty, so there's actually an extension that we can install. You can go here to, what is it? Extensions, click, and you can search for styled like that. And you're going to see that we have styled components here. VS Code styled components with 480,000 views or downloads or whatever. So make sure you install this because this is going to give us text highlighting for our code down here. Okay, so once you install that package, I'm going to wait a bit. Did you do it? Good. Now we can just write normal CSS for our file. So let's go here. I'm going to say this section should have a minimum height of 90 VH. display. As you can see, this is the highlighting I'm talking about. It shows kind of like in CSS. I'm going to say display flex. I'm just going to add some normal styling here so you can follow along. Align item center, justify content, space between, a bit of padding, 5 rem, 10 rem, and the color of white, and hit save. Okay, so I have the styling. As you can see, let's hit npm start here, npm start. Nothing still works yet. So how do I apply the style to this section? Super simple. You just take the variable you just made and you replace this whole div. About. Let's go all the way down here and replace that as well. And that's it. Look at that. We applied the styles. Now this text is white. It's still there, but it's perfectly fine because we're going to add a black background. Okay, so to recap, it's super simple. You import styled from style components. You go down, you create a variable, whatever you want to name it, and you just say styled dot and whatever HTML tag you want to style. In this case, our div. You add backticks, you add your properties, and then you just replace that div. And that's it. Now, the only thing I don't really like is that this can kind of look like a component that we might create, but this is just a styled component. It doesn't really have anything else to it. So that's something that you have to get used to, especially when you have your own components, but you also have components that are just styled components. I see a lot of people do something like styled about, so you know that that's specific only for styling, but we're just gonna do it this way. Okay, super nice. So everything works. Now, what about how do we get around making maybe a global styling? Maybe I want to add some styling to the body, I want to add some styling to the HTML tag and things of that sort. So for that, we can create a new component here. There's a special thing that we can import from styled components if you want to add some global properties. I'm going to call this global style.js. Okay, so just go to your component section, create this file. I'm going to call this const global style. Set this equal to, and I'm going to go here and import, add curly brackets, create global style from styled components. So if you ever need to add global styles, you can import create global style. So I'm going to set this equal to create global style, add the backticks, and here we can add our global styles. So I'm going to grab everything here and just say margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box, and hit save. Let's go down here. I'm going to grab the body. I'm going to add a background. I'm going to do a dark gray. So there's going to be 1B, 1B, 1B. We're going to add some font family in just a bit. Let's go down here to the buttons. I want all the buttons to have a font weight of bold, a font size of 1.1 rem, a cursor of pointer. Let's add a bit of padding to them, 1 rem, 2 rem, a border of 3 pixels solid 2B, 23D997, like that. A background of transparent, a color of white. We're also going to add a little transition here that you're going to see in just a bit. So transition, all 0.5 seconds ease. Again, this is just normal, boring CSS. If you don't feel comfortable with CSS, you can check out my HTML and CSS course to kind of get up and running, and just in case you don't understand some kind of properties here. But if you do, this should be super boring and super basic. I'm just going to copy over the color here on the hover and color white. Okay, so I just added some styling. We're going to get back to this in just a bit. So how can I use this? Well, let's go down here at the bottom and say export default global style. All you do is you go here to app.js and you just import it right here. I'm going to go here and say global style. And right here, just render it out on the screen. And that's it. And we have an error. Global style is not defined. Oh, didn't import it. Import. Global style from dot slash component slash global style. Okay. There we go. Look at that. Everything works the way we want it to. So let's head back to the global style and add a few other things. So again, here I just added a little transition to the button. And this is how you can also nest things with styled components. So as you can see, you can add an and hover if you want to add a hover, or you can add a and focus like that if you want to focus on something. You can also get different elements here. So I can grab the H2 in here, or maybe I have another div of title, and in here I can grab the H2 in there. So you can do nesting exactly like in Sass. So this should feel like super familiar. Okay, so we added the button. After the button, let's kind of customize how we want our headers to look. So H2, I'm gonna say font weight of lighter, font size of 4 rem. Let's grab the H3 and change the color to white. Let's grab the paragraphs and add a bit of padding to them. 3 rem, 0 rem. Color, I'm gonna make them gray, so CCCC. Font size, I'm gonna make it a bit bigger, 1.4 rem. Let's see how that looks. Let's see, am I zoomed in, zoomed out? Okay, there we go. Let me make sure I didn't add these to the button. I did add these to the button, so that's why it doesn't work. So go here to the H2. I'm gonna copy everything from here because I was in the button here. So after the button, right down here, paste everything. Okay, now it's better. Okay, there we go. I'm just gonna change the line height of these to add some extra space. 150%. Hit save. Okay, that's good. Let's grab we have H2, H3. Let's do H4. Font weight is gonna be bold on this one. And color is, I'm gonna copy over this green. Like that. And let's also do the spans. So let's go down here, span, font weight is gonna be bold. Actually, let me see. Actually, let's just copy over everything from H4 and paste it down here. And I'm not gonna add the color here to the H4, so let's get rid of that. Okay, let's grab the RA tags and just increase the font size a bit to 1.1 rem. And close that up. Okay, that's good. Looks good. Perfect. That's how we make the global style. Now let's kind of mess around with this and make this nicer. So let's head over to, what is this? The About section. Okay. So we made the About here. We can make the description now. So let's go down here. We can just say const description is equal to styled div backticks. I'm just gonna add a flex 1 to this. Padding right 5 rem. And the H2, I'm gonna change the font weight to lighter. Okay, we can copy the description and change it. Go down here. This as well. And there we go. So we made some space here. I want to give this a bit of more space as well because the image is kind of stuck there at the end. So we have this image div here. So we're going to style that up as well. So const image is equal to styled div. In here, I'm going to add a flex 1 to this as well. So let's copy over the image and replace this whole thing. like that. Okay, so it now has more space, but what I want to do is stretch out this image. So I can add another style component for this image as well. So if I want to style this image here, I can go down here and say const image or something and set this equal to style.image, and I can style it and replace it. But what I can do is also just access it with nesting. So I can go here and just say image and I have access to it. I'm just gonna say width, let's do 100%. Let's see. That stretches it out a bunch, which is nice, but the height gets really, really big here. So I'm gonna change the height of it and add a fixed height. I'm gonna say 80 VH and hit save. It's gonna make it smaller and it's gonna look weird because it compresses it down. So to fix that issue, what I can do is just say object fit cover, and that's gonna stretch it back out, but it's gonna still keep that aspect ratio for us. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Now we're gonna add some animation to this by increasing the size and decreasing the size. So what I'm gonna do here on the image is I'm just gonna add an overflow hidden. So in case we kind of modify the image and make it bigger and smaller, I don't want it to stretch out. I want it to be constrained to this div right here. Okay, that's good. And same thing to the hide that we made here. So we have a bunch of divs with a class of hide. What I want to do is basically take this H2 and push it down. So right here, right, I can take this individual text and push it down. And if I push it down and add overflow hidden, it's going to be hidden behind this div. So let's just go down here and just create another one, const hide styled div backticks. I'm just going to say overflow hidden. Okay, and just change every class that we have hide. Like that. Close it up here, close it up here, and close it up. Fantastic. So there we go. It's styled components are super simple to use. They're very nice because, again, they give us the ability to have everything in one file. It gives us a bunch of control about what we want to style. It's kind of like Sass. And what we can also do is mess around with CSS here, JavaScript here. So you can imagine maybe we have some state here, like const. I don't have useState imported here, but you can imagine like we have something like a toggle or something that's set to false. Well, what I can do is literally just go down here and add that toggle. So I can do, if toggle is active, then I can do something right here. So that's another powerful thing that we can do. And there's more that we can do with style components. But again, if we don't need it right now, we're not going to be using it. But if you do want to research it more, please make sure to check out style components because it's a fantastic tool. Okay, let's get rid of that. And I think we are going to leave it like this for this section. Let me make sure, let's see, should we add something else? I think we're gonna leave it at that, and then we're gonna move on to styling the second part up. So let's close this up. I'm gonna go here, let's give this a name. Let me make sure I keep it consistent here. So I'm gonna check to see. This is gonna be called, I think this is called, let's see, git log. This is gonna be number 5. So I'm gonna name this 5 intro to styled components. Okay, let's save, and I will see you in the next episode.